it's really important to keep in mind how challenging and unnatural of an environment that we live in nowadays. There has never been a time, and this is like, let me be very clear. I have an 18-month-old daughter, and I'm about to welcome a new little one into the world. And I know that they are coming into this world at the greatest time there ever is to come into this world. You know, especially my little girl. There's no better time to be a woman, especially, than there is now. She's gonna grow up with more opportunity than she ever would have had. And there is a tremendous amount of lack of sleep, stress, electromagnetical signals, blah, 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 blah. We all know what's going on, pollution, so on and so forth. So we don't know what it's like to experience life without those things, right? A fish doesn't know it's in water. We don't know what it is to have a brain that is protected or not exposed to all the, let's call them toxins, but let's just say unnatural things in the modern environment. So as beautiful as the human body is, we don't live in an environment that optimizes the body and especially not the brain. In fact, if you look at the data, almost all aspects of human health is improving with the exception of mental health. The rates of the opioid crisis, the rates of anxiety, depression, Alzheimer's, dementia, these things are skyrocketing. And it's really important to understand that in some ways it's impossible for that to not continue, because if we live to 120, we might be able to find a way to get your heart to go to 120, but we can't forget about, we also need your brain to make it to 120. So when you combine the unnaturalness of the environment that we live in and the fact that our brain needs to last 40, 50, 60, 70 years longer than it ever has in the past, you do need your brain to be better than normal. You do need to give your brain every possible advantage and every possible tool at its disposal to simply keep up with the challenges that modern life poses. And let me give one more example, because if you think about what it took to function in society in the 1800s, you could function in society in the 1800s without knowing how to read. You could function in society in the 1800s, obviously without knowing how to use a computer. It didn't exist, right? So you could function in society in the 1800s with very little training, skill, or mental ability. Think about what a 5-year-old needs to understand to function in modern society. A 5-year-old. I would argue that a 5-year-old needs to understand more things to function in society today than a 50-year-old needed to understand to function in society 100 years ago. Our brains need every tool at their disposal to keep up with modern life and to excel in modern life. And that's why for me, I will never go a day without Vitaae. In fact, we ran out of Vitaae it went out of stock for a while, and we had customers calling us pissed off because they're literally like, oh man, I forgot what life was like without Vitaae. It's like I lost my glasses. I can't see, I can't function, help. And in reality, it wasn't that they couldn't see or function, but now they know what life is on the other side of Vitaae, and they never want to go back.